Hello and welcome to Weapon of Wednesday. This is a new series I'm trying to start with me trying out new weapons every week and hopefully finding the ultimate weapon or just a weapon you're pretty happy with. So for this one I'm gonna use the honey badger in CoD Ghosts. Probably most of the first weapons I'm gonna try are in CoD Ghosts, just to try and find some good multiplayer weapons. So what can you say about the honey badger? Well, the honey badger is a weapon with a silencer built in it, which makes it very useful. It keeps you off the minimap, and it's pretty good at close range and long range. Problem is, it's, well, maybe a little bit too powerful sometimes, I think, which also makes it very popular. A lot of people use it then, and you end up fighting a lot of people using that weapon, which might be boring, but on the other hand, you can get free ammo that way, or just pick up another honey badger, and that makes it useful, I guess. And in a way, I guess it also evens the playing field a little bit if people use more the same weapon. But of course it's quite frustrating if people constantly use the same shit. So what would you advise by using this weapon? Well, if I have to be honest, I'd say I definitely advise you could be more defensive with it, but you could also be trying to get something like, well, I want to move around more. Well, you can. The only thing is, of course, if other people are also using a silence weapon, you don't always spot them on the minimap, so you always want to be careful where you run. Now, for more attachments and something, I'll go into deeper later, but for now I'll try to talk about more use for it and all that. But of course I can't say I'm using a grip on it to give it a little bit more stability, and I like using extended mags, so I can shoot longer without having to reload, because I decided not to use a quick reload on this character, because, well, it just doesn't really make sense. Oh, great. Well, that was my mistake. It's a pretty solid weapon. I mean, I'm not saying you can get all the kills with this weapon, because that's not true. I mean, of course, I'm not a very good gamer, so don't think that this represents the quality of the weapon. I'm just trying to show it to you. This does not represent the quality of the weapon, because I suck way too much for that. Oh, I see people fucking camping and all that. So, where could you really use the honey badger? Well, I like to use it moving around, which might not be always that smart. But what I like about this, unbelievable. Well, what I like about the honey badger is that it's versatile. It's good at close range, long range, and all that. Oh my god, we got some real fucking heroes here. So I'm trying to I'm trying to show you that it's a good weapon. Well, so far I'm not doing a good job, because we got some hardcore knifers here, which is annoying, which means they're gonna camp, wait around corners, trying to piss you off. But it's just sad. I mean, if that's how you spend your time. But it's not about sad people in this video, it's about people using a honey badger. And should you use a honey badger?
Friendly SATCOM active.
I can recommend it. It's a good weapon. But, like I said, because a lot of people use it, you might want to try something else, trying to put yourself in a better position, because the honey badger is not the best weapon. I mean, it's a good weapon, but it's not the best. But the problem is, the more people use the same weapon, the more likely you'll find someone else who's using that weapon, and thus might be more difficult to beat them. Yes, I'm right there, mister. So, as you can see, I don't really need to use the iron sights. That's why I'm not using any special sights on it. It's just the iron sights, because as you can see, you can look pretty good through it. It's nothing special, but it can get the job done. And it's pretty solid, you know. You kill pretty quick with this weapon. It's nothing too fancy, but it's it gets the job done. Like sometimes a little bit gritty, sometimes a little bit filthy and shit like that. But it's a pretty good weapon and dependable. As in, you get kills. I mean, even if you suck like me, you can still get kills. I mean, you're not gonna rock someone's world or anything, but well, maybe that's the wrong term for it, but you'll probably not be the best player with this weapon if you're not good. I mean, it's not gonna make you a better player, but what it does do, it keeps you off the mini-map every time you shoot the weapon, and that's never a bad thing, actually, because the more you appear on the map, the more people you'll attract to you. And personally, I try to keep a low profile, not attract too much attention, and know when to move and when to hold back. But of course, if you're someone like me who likes to move and fucking hunt people down, then that means you'll have to well, you don't have to have a silencer, but it definitely makes it easy. And this weapon, it makes it a little bit easier, I think, because you already have a silencer built in it, and it doesn't really affect the weapon so much that it becomes severely weakened. Well, there you have it, the Honey Badger in action. I'm sorry I couldn't give you a better representation of this weapon, but like I said, I'm just not good enough to give you these superstar. Look at this, the worst player. I do have to mention that this is the first match I'm playing today, so might have something to do with it, but I'm not gonna give myself that excuse like, yeah, it's my first match, now I'm not so good. So let me show you how this works. So as you can see, I have the grip on my Honey Badger, and I have extended mags. So this one gives a little bit more stability, which means I have better control over the weapon, especially on long range. And this one gives me more ammo in the clip, so I can shoot longer without reloading. Well, no secondary pistol, because technically you don't need with a Honey Badger. It's just a little bit of waste of time, in my opinion. So same with lethal and tactical. You could do it if you want to, but really, I never see the need for stuff like that. With perks, I like to use a lot of sneaky things, as in stealth, because as you can see, I'm using takedown, so my kills stay off the minimap. I use blind eye, so helicopters won't shoot at me. Oracle system won't highlight me out, so enemies can see me through walls or stuff like that. And a sentry won't shoot at me, so that's pretty useful, I think. The off the grid is pretty good because you don't appear on the minimap because of a SATCOM or by radar pings on an inbuilt radar in a shield, or if someone has let's see, this skill, the ping skill, it keeps you up, which is always useful. Now, I use SITREP because if there's enemy equipment on the field, I want to know about it. Because usually where there's enemy equipment, there's enemies. Of course, not everyone always uses it, and of course you can always make the mistake of accidentally tripping a mine or something like that. It has happened. It has happened to me. You probably have seen that in one of my videos already. And of course, you also want to have focus, because especially if you're not very good at this game, you want to have every little bit of help to keep your shots on the target. Because it really sucks if you shoot at someone first, the other person lands one bullet on you, and immediately your visor is all over the place. You don't want that to happen. You want to make shots and make them count. And ready up is really, I had one spot left, and I'm like, well, after sprinting, I'd like my weapon to be ready, so I can hip fire quickly if needed. Doesn't always guarantee you a victory, but it definitely works. And, well, that's about it for that. I mean, this doesn't really matter. I mean, if you're as bad as me, you'll probably never get to these kill streaks. But, you know, if you have a good match, I mean, yesterday I had a pretty good match where I had over 20 kills, surprisingly. And it happens. Sometimes you have luck, sometimes you don't have luck. The plan is trying to make the most of what you have. And I'd say the Honey Badger is a pretty decent weapon to get you some kills. It's not perfect, it's not probably not the best weapon, but it's definitely one of my favorites, if not my favorite. So I can definitely recommend giving it a try if you haven't done so already. And, you know, try it out, see how it works. Of course, if you don't like the iron sights, you can always replace that with one of these. I mean, it's not unthinkable, but I find it a waste of a spot there because, you know, the grip is, in my opinion, a little bit more opinion, and especially extended max, you want to shoot as long as possible with that. Something you could also use with this is you could, well, of course you could do the faster reload. I mean, if you need, you could use Stalker if you're more that type of person. Quick draw you could use, but as I said, hip fire is pretty good, so you might want to use steady aim to reduce the spot where you could aim at, you know, if you prefer hip firing with weapons. And of course, amplify also works well because you keep yourself off the mini-map, you can sneak up to people, so using dead silence to also make your footsteps go away technically, unless people use amplify, but it's a pretty good one to go combine it with. And of course, amplify to listen where people are, because if you're sneaking around, it is sometimes very useful to use amplify so you can listen where they are. But, you know, it's all up to you. I mean, of course, you could also use scavenger if you want to get a lot of ammo. Every time you kill someone, you get ammo. Or ICU, so you regenerate if you get wounded faster. But this is all what you'd prefer. I can definitely recommend looking at the stealth, because you do use a silencer, you do want to stay off the minimap. But it's just some advice, so I hope it helps out, and I'll see you in the next video, and hopefully I'll find another interesting weapon I can discuss with. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.